Okay, everybody, here we are. We have a very big week today, and specifically, we need to talk about Tuesday. We need to talk about this full moon lunar eclipse on Tuesday with 9 aspects, which is just going to be the highlight of our week. Not necessarily in a great way, but eclipses are important events that help us to distinguish between what was and what has to be going forward. So let's go ahead, pull up the chart, and let's look into it. I've timestamped everything down below in the description of the video. As always, feel free to let me know how the week goes for you in the comments and keep me posted on how the astro weather manifests in your life. But let's go ahead and pull up our chart. Okay, so Monday is low key. Monday is literally the calm before the storm. And I think that this is a beautiful example of how the astrology shifts based on our needs, based on how we personally feel about what's happening to us. The only things that happen on Monday are the moon goes into Taurus, preparing for the full moon, and then Venus squares Saturn at 2:31 a.m., so overnight. So it's going to be a bumpy night on Monday, early morning, but then the rest of the day is moon in Taurus. Taurus is the fixed earth sign. It is the sign of stability. It is the sign of consistency. And we have a really great opportunity on Monday to just chill, to just not do the thing, right? To just be in the field as the cow, munching grass, and everything is fine, basically. However, Tuesday is our big day. So let's go ahead and look at Tuesday. And even in the chart, you can see the red line starting to get really, really intense, which are points of friction and opposition. So Tuesday has 9 aspects. Normally, a full day would be 8. 9 is just pushing the envelope, and it's not just the quantity of aspects, it's also the quality of aspects, which for us is a lot. So 107, moon conjoins north node, looking towards the future. The moon in Taurus opposes Mercury in Scorpio in the morning, kind of tying the tongue, separating the emotions and the headspace. And then as the full moon occurs, with the full moon in Taurus opposing the sun in Scorpio very close to the north and the south node, creating a full moon lunar eclipse at 6 a.m., first thing in the morning. Great, kicking off Tuesday on a great note. Eclipses are traditionally signs of great change. They are signs that mark, that really highlight the lessons that we're here to learn, the pressure points of our year. This is when our luminaries, the sun and the moon, naturally start to withdraw each other's light. Yeah, so in this case, the moon's light is being eclipsed. The moon as the planet of the heart, the moon as the planet of emotion, starts to be eclipsed by the sun. And we start to have our emotions shadowed. We start to have our feelings, our heart space go dark from the eclipse aspect. These are times when people are going to feel naturally unsteady, unstable. They are times where great caution should be taken care of. Understand that everybody's motivations right now are not logical, especially with that Mercury moon opposition, where the mind is kind of at the other side of the table and the heart is at the opposing side of the table. To continue the theme, the moon will conjoin Uranus and Taurus, the planet of unpredictability, at 7:46 a.m. Eastern. So Tuesday, in addition to being a just big bookmark day because of the eclipse, we also have the moon conjoining Uranus, the planet of kind of dishevelment and natural disaster. It does not surprise me that this is a big voting day in the US. Yeah, let that sink in. Yeah. When we look at the rest of the day, we have the moon squaring Saturn. Saturn, the force of restriction, of boundaries, of keeping things intellectual because of Aquarius and rational, right? But the status quo because of fixed sign. And Moon in Taurus wants that same consistency, but from a comfortable standpoint. Aquarius challenges the status quo, Taurus creates the status quo. And Scorpio, who's kind of in the middle of this conflicting nonsense, is trying to defend the sensitivity, defend the inner child, defend the subconscious, defend the deeper needs that are fueling all of this discussion, really. We could think of the three souls model of the Scorpio being the lower soul, the child soul, the shaper, yeah, the subconscious, and then we have Taurus being the namer, the middle self. This idea of trying to keep things in the material realm consistent, or at least consistent to the eye, right? And then we have Aquarius up above, this higher self, the idea of the watcher, this mental forest view of everything that knows how to do things for the highest good, but can't always manifest things or explain things concretely. So these are the forces that are playing around our day on Tuesday. Then we have the moon in Taurus opposing Venus in Scorpio. So relationships and the heart will be in conflict, even though Venus is ruling the moon via Taurus. There will be that opposition of those other than us, not necessarily finding a sympathetic ear. The moon will sextile Neptune in the evening to help bring us down, to wind us down, to get us sleepy and soothed, which is very nice. But then Mercury and Scorpio will oppose Uranus and Taurus and keep the mind bubbling, keep the mind fractured, keep this idea of how we wrap our heads around what's happening, yeah, unstable. And I wrote in my post today, which is Monday, for Virgo, the idea that you cannot wrap a wound with debris in it, right? You cannot fix a wound that is still healing. There are pieces that are moving on the board. The game is not over, and so we can't just collapse the board and start over. We can't just put things into neat boxes because they're not done moving yet, right? So Tuesday is the big day, and we just need to be aware that the rest of the week will be infinitely easier, but Tuesday is going to be a challenge for many reasons, but the eclipse is probably the primary. Okay. Moving on to Wednesday, we get relief in the morning, but the night is still going to be a little bit tricky. The moon will trine Pluto, bringing up the past, bringing up all of the deep held kind of bone and marrow memory in the body. The sun will oppose Uranus, just like just like Venus and just like Mercury will, just going through the motions of this really intense Taurus Scorpio axis getting lit up to all hell this week. But the ego, the sense of self, is now being challenged, just like relationships are challenged, just like the mind is being challenged, just like the heart is being challenged. All these pieces of us are being deconstructed with the hopes of being reconstructed in a more efficient and better way. It's just a lot at once, right? And we don't need answers right away, but we do need to respect the process. And right now we're in deconstruction mode. We are breaking down the patterns that do not serve us, people. So the moon in Taurus will sextile Jupiter, which will be a nice lucky start to Wednesday. And this is when everything starts to turn around, is the grace from Jupiter. That just really nice, kind of soft, gentle, but lucky influence to spin things around in our favor. And then the moon moves into Gemini at 8:37 a.m. and the rest of our day, Mercury's day, is free of charge, free of all aspects. So we have this mutable air energy coming forward. We have lightness returning to the skies. We have this opportunity to just be a little bit more free, a little bit less restricted, and to let things cook in the background while we explore this idea of humor, curiosity, and expansion that Gemini really just enjoys. So there are multiple ways to turn Tuesday around following Wednesday. Then as we move into Thursday, Thursday has three very distinct phases. So we have a square overnight, which is a little bit tricky. Mercury will square Saturn. And so the mind will not be able to truly process how order should be implemented. And that will create some friction in the mind. We will also have a very sleepy start to the early morning, probably because of that mental wrestling that happened overnight as Venus trines Neptune in Pisces. This is going to dissolve a lot of boundaries in relationships. This is where people who were standing firm, who were getting very fixated on you do this for me and I will do that for you. All of that starts to soften. All of that starts to ease. It does start to get a little bit muddy. Neptune is the planet of confusion and blurring of boundaries, which can be helpful but also hurtful in different doses, right? So people will be kind of out of it, is a good way to think about it. Not out of it like during the eclipse where people are undergoing massive change and turning of pages into new chapters, but the idea of, hey, relationships cannot be the same. We have to change them. We have to let them melt and mold into something new. Then in the evening, the moon in Gemini will trine Saturn in Aquarius. And this is where we start to get that light bulb. This is where we start to get that, oh, I get it. I see the pattern. Now that I'm not in it, I can step back and be like, oh, right. This is why we're doing the thing. This is how we're coming to terms with it. This is how we rationally understand it. It's going to be a really great communicative transit as well. A lot of light bulb moments Thursday evening. Surround yourself with people who are intellectually your equals, kind of on par with where your mind is going and where you're transitioning so that they can understand a lot of those movements. Then we move into Friday, which has more friction than I would like. You know, we just had a light bulb moment overnight with the moon and Saturn kind of getting along. And now we have Sun square Saturn, Moon square Neptune, Moon square Jupiter, conjoining Mars first thing in the morning. You know, this is kind of like, this is an ugly duckling day. We had the aha moment with the moon trine Saturn, and then as we start to try to translate those thoughts into actions, translate those big ideas into tangible things that we can actually carry forward, yeah, it doesn't really go so well because these muscles are still new, they're still sloppy, right? We have that moon conjoin Mars and Gemini to help get us the motivation, but there are so many squares, so many unexpected variables, so many points of tension where it's like, oh nope, can't do it that way. Okay, we're learning. Let's try it this way. Oh nope, can't do it that way. Okay, we're still learning. Oh nope, can't do it that way. And so this pattern of needing to exercise the ideas, the aha moments, but also being patient with yourself very, very much as you encounter blockages to those experiences. As we move into the evening, though, on Friday, we start to get some of our water energy back. And this isn't going to be like the water energy of last week, yeah, where everything was in Scorpio and everything started to really attach itself to the south node of purging and really get us deep into our feelings. This is the moon moving into Cancer, her home sign, after being eclipsed. This is a healing transit, which is very, very different. So let's look at Saturday on the chart. And here we can see those blue lines starting to get really strong. So first thing, we have Mercury and Scorpio trining Neptune and Pisces. Just like Venus got to soften on Thursday, Mercury will start to soften on Saturday. So relationships and the mind both start to soften, both start to ease, both start to kind of let go. Yeah. And as we start to respect the idea of, oh, where was the Cazimi? Did I talk about the Cazimi? Mercury conjoined. Oh yeah, that's another reason why Tuesday is crazy, is I totally forgot about the Cazimi. Mercury as planet of the mind sits in the heart of the sun on Tuesday. So really about kind of aha moments and understanding like the deeper, darker themes of the ego and the mind and all of those Scorpio depths. Anyway, so lots of Mercury activity, Mercury, Venus, the sun, all kind of in that Scorpio energy. Sidetrack. But Mercury, planet of the mind, will start to soothe, will start to ease around 1:32 p.m. on Saturday. It's a great day to just flush everything away with a lot of sleep, a lot of relaxation, a lot of ease. Um, go have a drink if you're not sober. Go induce some recreational substances to celebrate the week that you've just been through. It's one of those things where Neptune encourages us in the middle of the day on Saturday to blur our boundaries, to get soft, to get mushy, have emotional conversations, surround yourself with supportive family and community. All of those things that help to ease, to get that rigidity, to clean out the wounds, to make sure that they're not festering. Yeah. And sometimes we need assistance with that. The moon in Cancer will also trine the south node in Scorpio, our point of purging. So Cancer as the mother, as the sign that is the caregiver, right? The crab comes through and starts to pick at the debris, starts to clean the wounds like the cleaner fish, right? That's going to be the energy of Saturday, is just opening up to the healing vibes that are present and available to us. And thankfully, that theme happens on Sunday as well. So Sunday, and again, more blue starting to show up on the chart, indicating trines, the energy of flow, especially in the water element. Moon in Cancer trines Sun, Moon in Cancer trines Neptune, Moon in Cancer trines Mercury, right? That's our day on Sunday. All water, all the time, all therapeutic, all flushing, all moving, all circulating. Yeah, emotions are exchanging. Yes. Psychic impulses are exchanging. Yes. We have a lot of the things that we weren't able to vocalize because we were in the middle of them at the beginning of the week are now able to spread, are now able to kind of return back into the ocean of consciousness and be like, oh, okay, that's right. I'm part of a bigger whole. I'm part of this. I'm not supposed to do this on my own, right? And this is where we start to get really therapeutic and start to get very healing towards the end of the week. So I think that plan for a very relaxing weekend on Saturday, Sunday, plan for healing activities, plan for activities that allow you to activate the deeper side of the emotions, to dredge up any residual feelings from the issues on Tuesday. But Tuesday, we have just so much happening. And I think that is just the highlight to be aware of, is first and foremost when looking at astrology and days like Tuesday, it's just important to stay safe as your first priority. If you're taking trips, be extra careful on the road. Make sure that everything is double, triple checked. Make sure that you have everything that you need and that you have planned for contingencies. If a wrench gets thrown into the equation, you know how to fix that, right? Even though we are literally dealing with the unexpected. Yeah, there are aha moments. This Mercury conjoin the sun that are in the middle of this unexpected. Even though the heart is being eclipsed, sometimes the head has to take over. Sometimes we were blind to opportunities that previously were just ignored by us because we thought that they weren't worthy. So a lot of this opportunity is about making sure that we respect the skies at this time without getting caught up in the drama of it all, because there is such a thing as doom and gloom astrology, right? And we're not here to do that. We're here to look at the sky and prepare for the week. We're not here to say, oh, I should just crawl under my bed and just hide on Tuesday. That's not living a full and productive life. Yeah, that's not living who you are as your truth. And so we need to be focused on using astrology to our advantage and just giving people the patience that they need on Tuesday, maybe offering support. One of the best ways, especially if you are feeling down, if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling overwhelmed, is to reach out and to support others who are going through seemingly even harder situations. That type of energy is how we can greet the day on Tuesday. Yeah. Anyway, so that is my breakdown of the week. As always, feel free to follow on Instagram and Facebook, which I've linked below, for the daily horoscopes and posts for more of a kind of in-depth look day to day. But in the meantime, may the stars be ever in your favor.